again, it's just master manipulation by Gossip Girl. She's trauma bonding them.
Yeah, yeah. And
it's like classic abuse pattern.
Yeah.
And then I like the lines as each people walk in. Like when Dan walks in, then he thinks it's him, and then and then Blair comes in.
They're working together.
Oh yeah, Blair walks in, and Dan's like, "Oh, that makes sense." And then Jenny pops, and he's like, "They're a team."
Yeah.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, the newbie, the greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, what are you going to call the person at the end of season 2 now?
Well, graduation day is here. Do you think you're ready to be queen?
I mean, as long as Gossip Girl's not following me to college, I think I could handle it.
All right, then.
All right, folks, so here's the deal. Leif has been a fan of Gossip Girl since it first aired, and I'm diving in for the first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, bringing you all the drama, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
That's right. Each week, we'll be taking a deep dive into the show, one episode at a time. We analyze the hidden parallels and obscure references. Plus, we'll also be touching on all the behind-the-scenes gossip and some stories from fandom.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there is always a seat for you at the Non-Judging Breakfast table. So go ahead and grab your mimosa, some coffee, or maybe some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine, and let's get this started.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Everyone, this city is just amazing right now. Everybody who was like Nick Wright, who was saying that he doesn't think that the Eagles will make it to the red zone. Just the most, I've never seen a game like that before.
It was definitely a beatdown.
Yeah, it was really fun if you're an Eagles fan.
And no Blake Lively this year.
No, I did notice that she was not hanging out with T-Swift this year.
We are here to talk about the season finale of Gossip Girl, season 2, episode 25, The Goodbye Gossip Girl. Original air date, May 18th, 2009.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The title is a reference to The Goodbye Girl, a 1977 rom-com starring Richard Dreyfuss, he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, and was at the time the youngest person to ever do that.
I have not seen it, but I have heard of it.
The quick synopsis is, after being dumped by her live-in boyfriend, unemployed dancer Paula McFadden and her 10-year-old daughter Lucy are forced to live with a struggling off-Broadway actor, Elliot Garfield, who is subletting their apartment. Crazy rom-com shenanigans.
Yeah.
The episode was written by Josh Safran, his 5th episode of this season, 9th episode overall of Gossip Girl.
Yeah, a regular staple at this point.
He's basically the showrunner now.
Yeah.
Episode directed by Norman Buckley, bringing him in for the big guns.
Yeah. I mean, and Norman Buckley, like he as we've discussed, not just Gossip Girl, but the teen drama genre, the guy owns it when it comes to directing.
His last 2 episodes he did were Age of Dissonance, which was the 18th episode this season. Then he also worked directly with Safran on New Haven Can Wait.
Yeah, and we like New Haven Can Wait, if I remember correctly.
Well, we like both those, I think.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and give us the Vulture recap?
All right, the Vulture recap. When early on in last night's episode, Serena declares that the end of high school means the end of me on Gossip Girl, your blood ran cold. We knew, as anyone passingly familiar with Chekhov's gun method of storytelling would, that precisely the opposite would be true, and that God and C.W. Willing, our omniscient narrator, would continue to stalk this Upper East Side princess until her brittle body was Chanel-clad feet up in the grave. And after this dramatic season finale, in which resolutions were reached, new side boob was exposed, and arch-villainous Georgina Sparks vowed to make a dramatic comeback. We can't wait for the next season.
Neither can I.
Neither can I. I really had mixed feelings on this episode, but the end, the setups at the end, and we'll get to it, but I really liked how it played out at the end of this.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Act 1 begins with a Gossip Girl monologue. Like everything on the Upper East Side, high school graduation is done with a little differently. Who needs pomp and circumstance when you have paparazzi? After a quick montage of students preparing for graduation, we see Blair and Serena at a restaurant having breakfast. Serena reveals that Chuck told Serena that he loves Blair, but didn't tell Chuck that Nate and Blair broke up. As they leave the restaurant, paparazzi are outside waiting for Serena.
Nice little beginning moment. I'm pretty sure Gossip Girl's going to follow them. My first watch through of this, she's like, the end of high school is the end of Gossip Girl. I'm like, I've got the show is kind of called Gossip Girl. Not to get too meta on you, Serena, but I think you got at least 4 years left.
Did you pay attention to what they were eating at all?
No, what were they eating?
Serena had her usual, I think, croissant or something like that. But Blair had finished eating, but she left a strawberry on her plate.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if she was trying to lure Serena into sucking on that
to try to flirt with her.
Yeah. And then also when they're leaving, I like how Serena tries to avoid the paparazzi and Blair stands back and poses.
Yeah, I love that.
Next, we get Nate and Vanessa have a friendly conversation. Nate apologizes how their breakup went down, and Vanessa announces that she's still going to Europe.
And NYU, where Dan is going, so she'll be around more. But
at least they're in the same school now.
I was going to say, at least it'll make sense for her to be there, and it won't be Dan just dragging her to parties where no one knows and or likes her.
Just as Dan walks up, Nate announces that he is having an after-grad party, and Dan and Vanessa are both invited. Nate leaves, and Dan points out something in the program to Vanessa.
Yeah, which I knew what it was from that moment. It's so it was so in tune with the rest of this show.
Yeah,
it's one of those little Easter eggs that just has blended since the pilot. Since he can't open automatic doors. It was such a great piece to this.
Yeah, Josh Safran actually does watch the show.
Yeah, you can tell. And it's that matter of, it was really a shout out to fans. If you're watching this show enough, you know what's going to come of this.
And then we have a lot going on in the next scene. Jenny is walking down the hall with Eric, excited that the Mean Girls will be graduating and there will be peace next year. Said Mean Girls show up and ask Jenny if she wants to throw her hat in the ring for Queen next year. However, Blair blows through and declares she picks the Queen.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like these scenes kind of go together that I'll comment after.
Yeah, actually, Gossip Girl has done this in the past, but never as much as in this episode where you have people entering and leaving the conversation within the same scene.
Yeah, it did happen more here. That there were
that first scene with Nate and Vanessa and Dan, and then now this one, and then also again later it happens at the party at least once. So after Blair leaves, Penelope declares that they don't listen to Blair anymore, and that the girl who brings them the best untold gossip by midnight gets to be queen. And it looks like Little J has some competition in the form of new transfer Emma Boardman, who Blair babysat, and there might be blood. So more continuity.
Yeah, I appreciated the continuity again. And it's funny how Blair still doesn't realize that she has completely lost control of the minions.
Mm-hmm. And that's why she's lost control, because she's not paying attention.
Yeah.
Serena finds Dan waiting in the courtyard. Turns out he wasn't listed in the program. Someone walks up to get Dan to approve an insert, in which they misspelled his name. Congratulations, Don.
I love how they get it right and then wrong. Daniel Humphrey was left out. Congratulations, Don. It's so great. So great. And it was just, it is a joke for someone who has watched this show from episode 1 until now. And I always love those kind of jokes. There's that moment in Buffy at the prom when they're all talking about the great things that Buffy has done, and it kind of reminds me
when
of
she gets
that.
the Class Protector Award.
The Class Protector Award, yeah. That this kind of Easter egg makes me feel that same kind of joy that I had during that episode.
Elsewhere in the courtyard, so yeah, they do it again this scene where he kind of like just switches over to Blair approaching Chuck, and she starts to tell Chuck about the breakup, but chickens out at the last second.
Yes. And it's just, we really kind of felt like this was sort of done, and now here she is running back to Chuck again. Okay, all right. I know that this is what the show...
Did we think it was done? I mean,
not done.
I mean, he just told Serena last episode that he loved her and he set up the prom for her.
Yeah.
Actually, the love you was like 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago.
And then set up the prom for her the last episode.
Yeah.
In the auditorium, Rufus gets pissy when he remembers he and Lily reserved their graduation seats together. Eleanor and Cyrus try to play matchmaker. Lily clearly wants to get married, but Rufus is still being stubborn.
I loved Cyrus and Eleanor in this scene. Yeah. I love Cyrus the character, and I think that Wallace Shawn has consistently delivered on who that character is and what his personality is. And he's just this ball of joy at all times, and I absolutely love it when he's on. And I love the awkward moment that they all shared and how Lily was an asshole about it and put Rufus on the spot because he deserved it. And I love that.
During Queller's convention speech, Blair and Serena are talking about the future and new beginnings until everyone's phones go off. Gossip Girl has some parting comments for the graduating seniors. After the blast, Serena declares that Gossip Girl is going down.
Yeah, I thought this whole thing was kind of weird. That, for one, she sent out a blast that targeted the non-judging Breakfast Club and Dan. And nobody stood up because they were all scared at that point. But the even weirder thing to me is that's it, she's going down. And it's only because Gossip Girl has been doing this shit this whole time, and there has never been an effort to find out who she is. There's only like one conversation that they had at one point where there was speculation, when it was the Eric conversation. So now that it's just, now we're going to find her and bring her down, it just seemed...
Well, it's the narcissist in Serena. Gossip Girl was a master manipulator in this episode. She knew exactly how to target each one of these people.
True. I just thought that, I wish that it would have built to we're going to get her more throughout the season.
Yeah.
I wish that was an underlying theme rather than a afterthought at the end of the season.
Yeah, I just wish it wouldn't even really come up at all, but...
Yeah, that.
I also know even some of the teachers were getting Gossip Girl alerts now, because some of them were looking at their phones as well.
Yeah.
And then this was the actual blast. Not so fast. You're not graduating until I give you my diplomas. Mine are labels, and labels stick. Nate Archibald, class whore. Dan Humphrey, the ultimate insider. Chuck Bass, coward. Blair Waldorf, weakling. And as for Serena Vanderwoodson, after today, you're officially irrelevant. Congratulations, everyone. You deserve it.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I was sort of, why is everyone responding this way? It was a weird response for the rest of the kids.
Did you catch Dan gave a little subtle smile? I don't know if that was direction or if that was just Penn Badgley being a goofball as usual, but he just gives like a little slight smile when his
yeah.
Moving into Act 2, at an after-grad lunch party, Serena is trying to recruit the Mean Girls into her war against Gossip Girl with little success. Nate sees his grandfather and says he's going to do some damage control. Chuck and Blair seem willing to help when Serena points out that they probably have the most secrets to protect.
And They walk off in different directions.
Rufus finds Lily alone, tries to apologize, but is still not ready to move forward.
Rufus, when she said what it was, and you said to her, you tried to give me money behind my back, and I said not to. Do you hear how dumb it sounds when you say it out loud? Do you hear how dumb it sounds for a reason to break up with this person? Is there and there's almost a moment as he's saying it that he almost has that in his face. Like, when I say it out loud, it doesn't sound so convincing.
Nate, in the name of full disclosure, tells the grandfather about Nate literally being a whore for an older married woman. The grandfather isn't thrilled, but promises to protect Nate if anything comes out. As the scene ends, Chuck is looking for Blair, and Nate finally tells Chuck about the breakup.
Grandfather is so fucking creepy here. Where he's like, oh, welcome to politics. Yeah, welcome to Washington. All right, you're banging. Oh, yeah, she's married. Oh, yeah, all right, high five. Oh, she paid you. All right, let me look into this.
Well, after he says she's married, like, I think Grandpa's response was, tell me more.
Yeah.
Dan and Vanessa are talking about ditching the party when Serena comes up to try to recruit them on her quest to take down Gossip Girl. However, they seem uninterested. Dan gives a very pragmatic but insensitive ramble about he and Serena are probably going to drift apart post-high school.
Hey, Dan, shut the fuck up.
Read the room.
Read the fucking room. Like, you're at your high school party with the high school friends. Shut the fuck up and read the room.
But at the same time, Serena was being so needy this whole episode.
Yeah, that is also true. Because she was realizing that she has peaked.
Yeah.
that she peaked in high school.
Chuck wasn't lying about running some stats, because in the next scene we have him explaining the breakdown of Gossip Girl Blast about Constance St. Jude's versus Manhattan's other private high schools. The NJBC puts it together that Gossip Girl is almost definitely one of the graduates in the room right now.
Yeah, it was pretty clever, though, of Chuck to run these figures. And it's funny because Chuck always has people that does stuff for him, but when it comes to, like, running a business and doing digging and finding dirt, he's kind of a natural at it. I thought it kind of fit. Yeah, I kind of fit Chuck's demeanor.
Serena sends a tip to Gossip Girl as Chuck calls for quiet in the room. Jonathan's phone beeps as he receives the tip Serena just sent. As the NJBC surrounds Jonathan, the show goes to a commercial break. Did you think it was Jonathan?
I thought that was a little convenient, but I thought it would have been a good thing. But also, I knew that this was going to go on for 4 more seasons and that they weren't going to find out who Gossip Girl was by the end of the episode. Like, I just kind of figured they wouldn't, but...
They could have gone the Pretty Little Liars route and have multiple Gossip Girls.
And so I had that thought, too, that, like, oh, that would be kind of cool that Jonathan is among a network. But I didn't really... I was shocked. But then the explanation also made a lot of sense.
After the commercial, it's revealed that Jonathan is not actually Gossip Girl. He just hacked her computer. Jonathan now has access to the entire database of gossip. After Serena and Jonathan leave, Jenny finds a juicy piece of gossip that could win her the contest and allow her to abolish the monarchy. However, she asks Eric if she should, because it would obviously hurt someone to reveal the info.
Okay, Jonathan. You have all of her emails. You have all these downloads and all these things that people have sent to her. You can't get a name off that computer somewhere? Like, somewhere? Come on, Jonathan, do better.
So if you freeze frame, you can see quite a few tips that were on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so some were Blair purging her lunch during sophomore year.
Oh.
Chuck having sexual problems.
That happened.
The longest book Nate has ever read being Dr. Seuss.
Scans.
Blair peeking on Aaron Rose in the shower. Stepbrother, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, gross.
Yeah. Nate having 3 nipples. Nate turning Howard Archibald in.
Yeah.
Dan not being able to afford Yale.
Wow.
And Dorota's an illegal immigrant.
Wow. Leave Dorota out of it.
And then some of the names of the people who sent tips in were people from the production and set crews.
Oh, that's funny.
Next up, Rufus has the old 6-string out and gives Dan a little sage wisdom advising him that he should go to Nate's party and say a proper goodbye to high school. I could have sworn Dan and Nate were in a good place after the last conversation together. I mean, why is he suddenly mad at Nate again?
Yeah, well, I didn't necessarily get mad at Nate as much as just wanting to stay away from the scene. Because I guess I was going more on the way Dan was in the previous scene, where he was like to Serena, like, I don't really want to be friends with any of you anymore, ever. So that's kind of where I took it, as we were listening to Linkin Hawk's new album getting written.
After Dan leaves, Rufus goes to call Lily, who is just walking up to the door with a 6-pack and a bag of Chuck's weed. Even Rufus knows Chuck has the good shit.
Yeah, they're gonna burn Chuck's stash, and yeah,
a little reminiscing.
Yeah, that seemed like the obvious thing there, right?
Back on the Upper East Side, Blair is preparing for Nate's party, talking to Eleanor. Eleanor encourages Blair to go after Chuck.
That was such a sweet moment. It was such a nice...
I mean, it was, but why is she pushing him to go after this guy with all these red flags?
Well, because Eleanor doesn't really understand the things that her kid is really going through. Yeah. So, like, it was sweet for her to be an encouraging mom. I don't think she really recognizes the weight of what Chuck's trauma actually is. You know, I think that it's more go-getter girl than anything else.
Well, I mean, she does know that Blair told him that she loved him, and he walked away. She said right in that scene.
Yeah.
But as you said, it is becoming a trope for them to have conversations in front of the mirror like this. This is like the 3rd or 4th time the same kind of scene has happened.
It's when they have their bonding moments, and it's when Eleanor is actually like a sweet mother and not being overcritical.
Mm-hmm. Dan and Vanessa arrive at the party. A very drunk Nellie is about to confess her love to Dan, but runs off when she spots Serena across the room.
Nellie's been hot for Dan this whole time. I love that.
Yeah. And yeah, she was very funny as a drunk girl.
Yeah. And I don't know that we've ever really seen much of Nellie and Dan in the same place at the same time. So her admiring him from afar just makes it so much more believable, especially because he's the guy that nobody fucking notices. So, like, just a little wonderful thing that I thought was added in here.
No one notices, but at the same time, he is the ultimate insider.
Yeah.
It's a weird dichotomy at this point.
It is. And when we get to Blair's takedown,
Jenny, in an attempt to be nice, warns Blair the Gossip Girl knows about Blair and Jack on New Year's Eve. Blair snaps at Jenny, and Jenny gets defensive and tells Blair that Penelope isn't following Blair's orders anymore. Blair then tells Jenny to keep her mouth shut and calls her a waste of time before storming off. Look out, B. Not so little J has her fucked around and found out face on and tells Iz to get Penelope.
Blair always underestimates Jenny, and she always goes so hard at Jenny, and it doesn't usually work out for her.
Well, again, this just goes back to Blair is distracted from the game.
Yeah.
She's completely focused on Chuck. Because as you see later, she does say, you are my choice, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
She's just too wrapped up in Chuck to really pay attention right now.
Yeah.
Blair pulls Chuck into a quiet room. Blair begins seductively undressing in order to get Chuck to admit his feelings. However, before Chuck can say those 3 little words, Gossip Girl sends another blast. We see everyone at the party's reactions as Gossip Girl has this to say. Serena Vanderwoodson just couldn't leave well enough alone. Since she had to find out the truth about me, I'm going to tell you the truth about everyone. Every gossip bomb I've got is about to drop. And if you got a problem with that, take it up with her. Ever wonder why Miss Carr left town? Dan Humphrey had sex with her during the school play. The spark between Humphrey's sis and Nate during a hot photo session? Thank God it stopped at PG-13 or someone could have ended up in jail like her brother. And as for Blair Waldorf, say uncle, we hear she kept it in the Bass family on New Year's. But rumor has it, Chuck spent some time in Brooklyn, metaphorically speaking, of course. Serena Vanderwoodson, here's looking at you.
That blast, I mean, it's kind of great that it just drops everything. And some stuff that we didn't know, too.
What didn't we know?
We didn't know about
Jack and Blair.
Jack, yeah.
It was strongly implied, though.
Yeah.
I like how Dan pretends to be annoyed by, another blast. Why aren't you unsubscribed, Dan? Why are you still subscribed?
Yeah. Like you graduated, bruh.
Things are getting volatile as we return from commercial break. The gossip bombs did their job as everyone appears to be at each other's throats, metaphorically speaking, of course. Serena tries to play peacemaker, but then just draws everyone's ire onto her. And then Dan tries to defend Serena, but Blair goes after him as well.
Yeah, the way Blair takes Dan down and is like, no, you're not the ultimate insider. You're not just tagging along to all of this shit all the time. And of course, Nellie also, once again, chiming in that Dan had the audacity.
Guy and ignored the rest of us. I mean, them. You dated Serena Vanderwoodson. You were best friends with Nate Archibald. You were the lead of the school play. You had sex with a teacher. You were on the soccer team.
Yeah.
Blair once again finds Chuck alone in the room and tries to push past their issues. Blair tells Chuck that she loves him. However, once again, Chuck still can't say it back and walks away from a tearful Blair.
Another great acting scene for Blair. You know, she really sells it. She really brings that across. The quivering lip, you know, it was just, she really sold it.
And Chuck's an idiot.
And Chuck fucked it up.
Back at the loft, Rufus and Lily are reminiscing about old Lincoln Hawk gigs. Rufus gets caught up in the moment and converts an old concert wristband into an engagement ring and proposes to Lily on the spot.
All right now, Rufus, act high. I just felt the whole time like Rufus was just acting so high. It was like, I hate this. I thought Lily was a convincing high, but Rufus just, okay, Matthew, act high.
Outside the party, Nate tries to comfort Serena, who is spiraling about never getting a chance to gain forgiveness if she doesn't fix things tonight. Serena sends a text to Gossip Girl threatening to reveal her identity if she doesn't meet with her. Serena was so cringe this whole episode.
Yeah, she just is such a narcissist. Like, she'll believe that I know who she is. She'll believe it, and so then she'll show up.
And we go into Act 3. Back at the party, Blair finds Jenny in the washroom and is a lot more apologetic this time. She even gives Jenny the gossip that Chuck rejected Blair yet again. Great moment between these two as Blair declares that Jenny is her choice to replace her as queen. And fuck boys.
I always like when they're together. I always like when they play off each other.
Yeah.
I think the two of them have good chemistry. They're the best actors among the kids. And so I really love when they have scenes like this together. And I thought they were really good.
Fuck boys and roll to school. At the Oak Room, Serena and Nate have been waiting for over an hour when Dan is the first person to show up. Dan tries to help Serena through her extreme insecurity issues.
I looped you. That is not a reference I understood.
It was an app for like 10 seconds.
Okay. Like find your friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure they paid for that spot.
Yeah.
They bought drinks for everyone at the bar.
Yeah. For all the teenagers at the bar. New app under scandal.
Then we see just about every named teen character show up and everyone gets a blast. You wanted to meet Gossip Girl? Well, look around. You just did. I'm nothing without you. And while most high school friendships fade, it's my hope that what happened today will bond you forever. Now all my secrets are out. You have a clean slate until college. Congratulations. I'm coming with you.
It was so dumb. This whole subline was dumb, and it ended so dumb.
Again, it's just master manipulation by Gossip Girl. She's trauma bonding them.
Yeah. and
it's like classic abuse pattern.
Yeah.
And then I like the lines as each people walk in. Like when Dan walks in, Nate thinks it's him, and then and then Blair comes in.
They're working together.
Oh yeah, Blair walks in, and Dan's like, "Oh, that makes sense." And then Jenny and he's like, "They're a team."
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That one I love.
Blair apologizes to Serena. Serena tells Blair it's unnecessary. Chuck is the only one not here. Yes, that's because he's standing outside like a creepy stalker. Such a weird shot.
Looking in on everyone, and then slinking away. Oh, Chuck.
And we move into the epilogue. Just like last season, we get a flash forward with a 1 week later title card. Lily is admiring an actual diamond ring to replace the makeshift ring from Rufus' proposal. Eric and Jenny are unpacking a waffle iron. Eric is excited to try it out, but Jenny has to meet Blair.
I loved Eric's enthusiasm for the waffle maker.
I mean, the acting was horrible, but yeah, it was
right,
funny.
Right. But it's been so well established, again, with the Easter eggs. First of all, that we all know that Rufus makes great waffles, and now he's moved in and gets this super fancy waffle maker to make his waffles. It's also been well established that Eric craves a home-cooked meal because his mom can't make one and never has. And there have been other times that you've seen Eric make the comments about how his mom can't cook.
And I think it's not just the home-cooked meal. He wants what the home-cooked meal represents, which is a family.
Yes, yeah.
Because he is perpetually lonely.
Yes, yeah. And the waffle maker and really represents that for the Humphreys, and bringing that to the joined family. I think this is a great thing for Eric. I mean, he's got a dad now. He's got a sister. He's got a new brother who's going to be out for college, but be around sometimes. Yeah. Where is NYU in relation to the Upper East Side?
NYU is like Lower West Side.
Okay.
Remember, we talked about this the other week when we were talking about where the apartment was. How
right.
The Nate guy was actually not in between them at all.
Yeah.
Serena is packing while talking with Blair. Gossip Girl has been tracking Chuck across Europe. Blair gives Serena a framed photo of Serena's mugshot, and Serena is spending the summer in Europe while Blair is going to stay close to home.
We also hear that Chuck has been gallivanting around Europe.
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't. I missed that. But yeah, we do hear that Blair has been tracking it, and the Gossip Girl has been updating.
Dan and Vanessa are at a cafe. Dan admits to missing Blair, Nellie, and even Chuck Bass. Nate shows up and convinces Vanessa to let him come with her to Europe. After all, during this, what appears to be a random guy tries to help Vanessa with her lie about taking someone else to Europe. After Nate and Vanessa leave, the guy and Dan bond over Nate having things come easy to him.
Yep. This strange guy here.
Did you recognize him right away or not?
I did. I think I called it. Robin didn't. I think I was like, that's the brother. And she was like, the brother? And then the next scene, I could be wrong about that, but I'm sure I'll find out soon. The other thing, Dan, is she hot? Nate is here talking about how he's getting hit on by this deputy mayor. And Dan's response is she hot?
And Nate says, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. Nate's like, yeah.
I mean, come on. That's how high school guys talk.
It is. It really is.
Blair and Jenny arrive at the restaurant and interrupt the Mean Girls' coronation of Emma Boardman. Blair takes the diamond-studded headband and crowns Jenny instead.
When Blair is shooing the girls off, and she uses Cyrus's catchphrase.
I actually have that.
Not enough. Yeah. That really
she has incorporated that into her lexicon.
That I love that, and again, it's just really good continuity and really good writing.
Back at the cafe, Nate, Dan, and Vanessa are getting ready to see a movie. In the corner, we see Rando Scott with Rufus's Rolling Stone cover and an article about Lily and Rufus. Georgina calls Dan and lets him know that she's got his money back, and when Georgina finds out that Dan is going to NYU, she tells him she will see him next year.
Yeah. So the totally not dead brother is going to NYU with you, Dan. But his parents think he's in Oregon or Maine. But I would think Oregon. I think he'd leave. Well, I guess Maine's closer to where he was.
At the NYU bursar office, Georgina is paying her tuition and requests Blair as a roommate.
Boy, it's fun.
Boy.
I'm sold on season 2 Georgina Sparks, so I am excited for season 3 Georgina Sparks. So I'm here for this.
Serena is about to get in her limo to go to the airport when Carter shows up. Carter says he found Serena's father in Fiji. Serena, already on her way to the airport, hops into the limo and tells Carter to get in.
First mention of Serena's dad that I can really think of. Especially the fact that she's looking for him. We've known that he's not in the picture. This is the first time we've known that there's a mystery behind where he is.
So they did I did freeze frame on the letter too. We got, it's the Eye on Them agency. PI case detail report Vanderwoodson. Although it looks like a CDC announcement, kind of. Activity report says just like it's 2 days worth of activities. Pretty boring stuff. He leaves his hotel in a white Mustang, goes to an office for a while, then to a restaurant, and then day 2, he leaves, goes to his hotel, or goes from the hotel to his office again, and then he meets with a woman at a restaurant. Although there was a typo. Actually, it's a typo. Actually, it says they seem to be meeting with a woman. So whoever was the PI didn't spell check.
Didn't proofread,
Yeah. And then on the street, Chuck is waiting for Blair. He was flying all over Europe to get Blair her favorite things. Chuck finally says those 3 words, 8 letters, and Blair and Chuck begin to make out as we get the final sign-off of the season. XO, XO, Gossip Girl.
Yeah. I thought that was super sweet. I loved the him finally saying it.
Yeah.
Came around.
Goes back to the first episode of the season.
Yeah. And it all just kind of worked around, and I liked how it ended. I think the epilogue was my favorite part of this episode.
So I think I've mentioned in the past how in New York City, if you're going to be closing down a street to film, you have to put up notices well ahead of time.
Yeah.
So at this point in the show's filming, anytime they're filming on a street, there's hundreds of kids around the set.
Right.
They filmed this scene 2 ways. They filmed one with Nate and Blair and one with Chuck and Blair.
Oh, dirty. Dirty. Hey, I can appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Because like Gossip Girl walks so Game of Thrones could run as far as like on-set spoilers.
Yeah.
Like, there's people always like taking pictures, stealing little sides. You know, if anyone threw out their sides, they were getting stolen.
Yeah, yeah. It was really the dawn of that age too. I mean, we've talked about like the message boards for the show, and the real interaction between the internet and TV. This is early in people figuring out how to mesh those things together and to build fandom through those things.
But that is our episode and our season. Any predictions for next year?
I predict that Serena is not going to stay at Brown very long. I don't know how far Brown is from
Rhode Island.
NY. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was a different state. So yeah, I'm assuming Serena will be coming back from Brown and going to NYU pretty soon.
They're not going to split the show?
I don't think that would be wise because they already kind of have to if they're going to keep Jenny in the show, right? They already kind of have to if they're going to keep Rufus, Lily, Eric, and Jenny in the show. To split it a third way, I don't see that happening. I also see Nate ending up at NYU, and then they're all there. I don't see Chuck going to NYU. I just see him.
Why would Nate go to NYU though?
He pissed off grandfather by leaving his.
He already left the school that grandfather wanted him to go to. He's going to Columbia, not Yale, which is in New York.
Yeah.
And they never actually show school in the show. So it doesn't really matter what school, as long as he's in New York.
Yeah. I just kind of figured they'd bring them all together.
Are we going to get any changes to the cast? Anyone upgraded or downgraded?
I'm wondering if Georgina becomes a regular cast member. I mean, she's set up to appear in episode 1. And so is it going to be we're going to have her for a bit and then get rid of her like they've done in the past? Or is she going to be a member of the cast now? I know that Jenny exits early at some point, and I'm pretty sure that happens next season. So that also makes room for adjustments there. I could see Eric kind of getting a downgrade because
he's not main cast technically.
That's true. And I don't know, could Nate get a downgrade now that Blair and Chuck are going to be together? That can only last so long before it.
But it does seem like him and Vanessa might be starting up again.
Which would all be at NYU. So, yeah, I don't really see anyone getting too much of a downgrade that's a regular cast member. But I am curious about, also the addition of Scott, that I'm wondering if he's obviously going to have a storyline in the new season. Is he going to be a cast member? And that means, are they all going to fuck? Oh my God, he has to know who Serena is before that. They're actually related.
And then we have to find a love interest for Dan, presumably. Unless he's going to just get back with Serena again.
I mean, it's got to happen at some point, I'm sure. I don't see them being done. But yeah, Georgina, I know Dan knows that Georgina's crazy and that Dan doesn't like Georgina, but Dan can also be dumb when it comes to women. So there's a possibility there. And I'll also say this, going back to Miss Carr, the Miss Carr episode. Dan is going to NYU. Blair is going to NYU. Dan and Blair have chemistry. There's a chemistry there when they want to turn it on. So are they going to be alone together at NYU at some point?
You got Dan, Blair, and Vanessa's going to be at NYU too.
Yeah.
Chuck's going to presumably be doing business stuff.
Yeah. Chuck should be running his company.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Any other predictions before we get into segments?
I don't think so. I think those are my big... Rufus and Lily, I think that they're going to get married. I think that they're going to have stupid, dumb fights for the rest of this show. But I think they're going to get married and live happily ever after. That's my kind of hope prediction.
Well, let's hope so. Let's go ahead and get into This Week in Fandom. We jumped into the Wayback Machine to check out the Television Without Pity forums from 2009.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman.
Hello.
Good boy.
Overall, the reaction, great episode. Most people liked it.
I get it. I like the episode overall.
They liked the Chuck and Blair resolution, but still felt it took too long.
Yeah, they did the cat and mouse with it.
They're happy that they're together, but yeah, it doesn't hit as hard because it took too long.
Yeah, including in this episode.
Yeah.
Including...
Most people are sad about having to wait for season 3. Oh, those sweet summer children, if only they knew about waiting 2 years between 8 episode seasons.
Yeah. Oh, man. It is getting worse.
Disappointed we didn't get to see Georgina's takedown of Poppy.
Yes, I agree with that. I felt like that was probably we didn't have time to write it in. I wonder how much of the previous episode had other things originally written into it that were then cut to fit the pilot into it. That I wonder if the original draft was the pilot episode of the spinoff, and then someone had a draft of the actual episode, but then shit had to get cut out of that. So they just one-lined it at the end of the season.
The fans also pointed out that USC stood in for Brown in the OC because the Brown was also featured in the OC. So they're wondering what school they're going to use to shoot it for in Gossip Girl.
Oh, that's funny.
But that is it for This Week in Fandom. Let's go ahead and get into episode grades. What do you got?
I went a B+. I thought that the I'm going to take her down storyline was dumb. And I kind of felt like Serena was just kind of narcissistic and dumb in this episode. I still felt like it was a good episode. I really felt like the end of it really drugged me into it. So yeah, B+.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was a good episode. Yeah, the only thing that I didn't really like was, Gossip Girl shouldn't be a character. It should just be an omniscient narrator. And
yeah,
doesn't need to get involved in the plot. We don't really care who it is. But I still gave the episode an A.
Yeah.
Because it had a lot of great continuity. The writing was really good. You had some good resolutions, and you saw the season-long arcs play out.
Yeah, the writing on this show, on this episode, was better than the episode at times. The dialogue and Easter eggs were better than parts of the plot.
Heading over to Stockwatch. Who do you got going up?
I had a lot of people going up. I was feeling very generous, and some good things happened to some people here. So first of all, I had Rufus and Lily. They got engaged, and they got over their shit, so good job. I had Jenny and Eric. Well, I mean, Jenny, clearly her stock went way up. She came out on top. She's the queen. Eric, because he has a family. I had Dan and Vanessa. Dan is done with high school and graduated and off to NYU, and he seems content with it. And so does Vanessa, who also is running off to Europe with Nate. So that seems pretty cool. I have Chuck and Blair going up for finally getting their shit together and saying their I love yous. And then I have Georgina Sparks going up for showing up and throwing a monkey wrench and shit for next season.
Anyone else?
I'm going to give up to Jonathan for hacking Gossip Girl. And that is it for going up.
For me, I had Cyrus. Actually, I had all three of the couples, basically. So you got Cyrus, Eleanor for giving good advice, Rufus and Lily for getting together, Chuck and Blair for getting together.
I should add Cyrus and Eleanor. I forgot about them, and Cyrus is amazing.
I also had Jenny going up because she got queen. I had Gossip Girl actually going up because she manipulated the shit out of everyone.
Out of everybody.
And then Jonathan also, because he hacked Gossip Girl. And I gave Nellie up because she was just funny.
That's fair.
Georgina, because she also took down Poppy, which neither the NJBC or Lily could pull off.
Yeah.
And she's primed to take down Blair.
Yeah.
Who do you got going down?
I had Nellie going down because she was dethroned, and she was...
Nellie wasn't...
Not dethroned, but she was turned down by Dan. She spilled her heart out to Dan, who didn't care. But the other reason I had Nellie going down was that it was her secrets that got Jenny to be queen.
it wasn't really her secrets, though. It was the secrets that she had gotten from Penelope and Iz. So remember that was from the
Right.
the pop-up fashion show?
Yeah. But it was because Nelly Yuki gave Jenny the ammo that took them down, right? It was Nelly Yuki had the ammo, right? And
Yeah.
gave it to Jenny. Right. And so...
And everyone knew
the
that she had it.
Yeah.
But she just didn't want to be queen at that time.
Yeah.
I don't really think those are Nelly's. I know they labeled it as Nelly's secrets, but it wasn't really her secrets.
Yeah. I had grandfather going down for being creepy. I had the minions going down for losing everything to Jenny. I believe that's it for my going downs.
So for me, I had Serena, because she was just cringe this whole episode. Scott, because, whoa, guy. You're going to be wearing some Rufus skin on your wall soon.
I left him neutral just because we didn't have a whole lot, but damn, yeah, there is that.
And I did have the minions, but especially Edmund Boardman. She took the biggest hit.
Yeah. Yes.
I had Dan, Vanessa, Nate, and Eric all neutral.
Okay. I get that.
None of them really had any plots. They didn't really have any. Yeah, Eric got a family, but that's just something we kind of observed wasn't really part of the story other than top wiring.
I also want to add Serena to my down list because she sucked. And I meant to have her on that list and forgot to put her on it.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
Who do you have for best outfit?
I had Blair's dress for the party. And I love that even when she came in with
the one she takes off?
Yeah, the one with the jacket. When she comes in, she has the jacket on, takes that off, but then the dress, that she wears, she has it on in front of her mom, too, when you really see it.
For me, I had Chuck's suit from the first party. It was like a brownish suit with like the peach shirt and the orange tie.
That was on my list. That and my other one that was on my list was Carter's suit at the end. The gray with the gray pinstripe shirt. I thought that was really slick.
I also like Jenny's dress from the first party.
Yeah.
She always has great style. Cool. She had like a zipper dress. It was the zipper was in the front.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, that is it for segments. Do you have anything you want to plug this week?
Got a gig in February on the 26th at a bar in Philadelphia. And I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But follow me on Instagram and follow me on TikTok at Steve Marchand, at steve.marchand, Marchion, and I will be posting stuff there to announce where I'm playing.
For me, nothing really to plug, but I will mention that a few days after this episode drops, the new Late Meester show will be coming out on the CW, Good Cop, Bad Cop. So,
cool.
So check that out.
I'm gonna want to watch that.
You can follow me on social media. If you want to go on Instagram, I'm at Hotcapicola, HOTCAPICOLA. Also the same on Blue Sky. And then if you want to follow the podcast, you can follow us on Threads, TikTok, Instagram, at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And then if you want to check out our Discord server, our Patreon, or anything like that, get new episodes, check out our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and read your comments on air. Also, while you're listening, please like and subscribe and follow and leave a comment. It all helps with our visibility in our different streaming platforms, especially the Apple Podcasts. If you are listening to this show, please tell a friend what you're listening to, share with your friends, and let them know to follow along with the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod.
And we're going to take a little break in between seasons so we can catch up on recordings. So we'll be back in about 2 weeks. We'll be back to talk about Season 3, Episode 1, Reversals of Fortune.
I am excited.
The Max episode description reads, Serena returns from Europe with many secrets to hide.
I'm excited. I know what she's looking for. I know that she's also probably doing sex stuff, because that often happens when Serena goes on European trips. So yeah, I'm excited.
And the paparazzi are following her.
And the paparazzi are following her, yes. I'm not interested in Serena's sex stuff. I'm just saying that I'm interested in the scandal. I don't really want to know what she's doing. She kind of creeps me out.
Well, as Vulture mentioned, we did get some new side boob.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, until next time, you know you love us.
XOXO.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me